Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the White Belt MMA podcast. And it's an absolute pleasure to have on the show Datrelle DKO Kozeluh, the number one amateur bantamweight in Illinois. So, Datrelle, how you doing, my man?
I'm good. How are you? Enjoying this lovely Saturday.
Oh,
Eating a lot of great foods.
definitely. What you eating? A little steak, a little burgers. What we look? Because it's right after your fight. So, I mean, I'm pretty sure you don't have to be looking after your weight anymore.
Yeah, me and my girlfriend, we made a thing like I was cutting weight and I'm like, okay, we're gonna eat dinner at a new place every night. I'm gonna kill all birds with one stone. So last night was Mr. Sub. It's a popular place out here in Illinois, in Joliet, Illinois. Tonight I think we're gonna eat some Portillo's. We've had home run in pizza. It's been great. I'm loving it.
All right, so you're gonna be. I mean, you're grubbing, bro. So, dude. So yeah, definitely. So talking about your last fight, man, and it was for a big promotion too, Extreme Fighting Championships, man, and you won with a unanimous decision over Jared Ray. So, my man, tell us a little bit about that. Tell us how that came about, how you actually got that to be on that card, and talk to us about the fight.
Well, starting this January, I kind of was like, man, you're getting away from your dream, you're getting away from your career, stuff like that. So I made a promise to myself beginning 2021, I would hit it very, very, very hard, and I tried to be as active as possible. But first, I had to get in shape. So I took a few weeks to get in shape, and then once I felt I was in shape, I did a little pre-camp. I made a post like, hey, Datrelle Kozeluh looking for a fight. And this guy commented underneath, great guy. I think his last name is Valentine or something like that. He's a wonderful guy. He was like, hey, I'm a matchmaker for XFC Oklahoma. Did you want to come out? Sure. Send me the opponent's name. Everything was easy from there. I usually say yeah, and it was great. As far as the fight, I thought the fight would be a tad smoother on my behalf. It was pretty entertaining. That's good. But I just thought that I'd have my way a little bit more, which I had about 8 out of the 9 minutes my way. But that little hiccup in the end almost cost me the whole fight. So it's just stuff I have to work on, bro. As far as my striking was there. I just got to sit down on my punches more, put a jab in front of the left hand. And I think this close to creating more highlight reels,
Yeah, definitely, man. And man, you still won at the end of the day, so that's what matters at the end of the day. So,
Exactly.
yeah, man. So Datrelle, so just to we just talked about that fight. I really want to take it all the way to the back. I mean, all the way to like the beginning. So for you, Datrelle, like for most people, right? Like they know they want to be a fighter at an early age. So was that the case for you, Datrelle, or was it one of those things that you just started doing it as a hobby, whether it be from wrestling or anything like that, and it eventually picked up into an MMA career?
Yeah, I knew this. I knew I wanted to do this. As long as I've been doing activity like physical, like sports and stuff like that, this has always been the number one goal. I spent a little bit of time thinking I was going to be an MLB baseball player, going hand in hand, playing baseball in the summer, wrestling and doing jiu-jitsu in the winter and stuff like that. But for the most part, yeah, the UFC has been. Bro, I've been a fan since like Tito Ortiz. Like I've been on my PS2 like
for a minute, dude.
yeah, Tito Ortiz versus Dan Severn, stuff like crazy matches like that. People like matches you don't hear of today. You got to be a huge fan to know who I'm talking about.
Oh no,
like Dan Severn.
Yeah, no. So like I said, it's like going way back. So like,
Yeah.
was that the first fight for you though that like legitimately got you into watching the sport?
No, the first fight for me was Tito Ortiz and Ken Shamrock.
Okay.
Tito instantly stood out to me with the flame shorts and the flag, and he was mean, and he had the whole demeanor. It was great.
Yeah. So what I mean, how'd you stumble upon it though? Was it one of those like someone in your family was a big fan of it, or was it one of those?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, my uncle at the time was training jiu-jitsu. He's now a Brazilian jiu-jitsu black belt under Sean Chitwood, which is insane. Yeah.
Yeah.
But at that time, he had just started his jiu-jitsu path. My dad was already like I don't want to say it wrong, but he was a karate national champion of some sort. Mm-hmm. My uncle was on the junior Olympic boxing team. My grandfather was a boxing coach, so it's like I couldn't escape it. Might as well, join the team and
Yeah, so you were always around it though. So like you said, it's like it was you would eventually find the bug, like eventually. So
exactly, bro.
Yeah. So when you first stepped into the gym though, how was it though? Was it like like for you? Did you feel a lot of pressure knowing that like your families were like all into combat sports and like of some kind, or was it one of those like it's my journey and we'll go from whatever it goes.
Well, it's crazy because actually my first time ever stepping on a doing anything martial arts was wrestling, and I thought that I was there for WWE. Like I wanted to be like John Cena, you know. I
Yeah.
thought, you know, the UFC and wrestling, there's two different things. And
Yeah.
my friend had me under the impression that we were going to wrestle, so I'm like, okay, we're doing some WWE stuff here, and
Some
I
chair
went there.
shots in there.
Yeah. And I got extremely lucky with the team that I chose. We were called the Crosstown Crushers, and at the time we had national champions my size, you know, killers in the room.
Yeah.
And it molded me into the wrestler and the man that I am today. I'm super thankful for the Crosstown Crushers. That little kid room, I don't want to say it gives me PTSD, but man, it was rough.
Yeah. It kind of goes with like the saying, right? It's like iron sharpens iron.
For sure.
Yeah. I mean, not to get a little too sidetracked here. I heard you thought it was a little WWE stuff. Were you ever a fan of that or not?
Huge fan. That's how I got the I had shirts over the last weekend. They're called DKO, NWO style though.
Yeah, I saw that.
It fit perfectly. I loved it.
Well, I mean, like I said, not to get a little too sidetracked, but like for you though, like what if you had to give me like a top 3 matches for WWE, because I'm also a big WWE fan, so it's like I can talk
Top
about that
3
all day. Yeah.
It's usually okay. I'm good. I have an excellent memory. I'm good, but I usually remember the ones that are so close and that the person that I wanted to win lost. You know, those hurt the most.
Yeah.
And that one for me, I would have to say Triple H versus Batista. It was a Hell in a Cell, and I wanted Triple H to win so bad. Me and my uncle were in this room watching the pay-per-view and everything, and Batista came out on top. That probably was the number 1 match for me.
No, definitely.
And my dad brought me to WrestleMania when it came to Chicago. I don't know what the exact one.
I'm trying to think. Was it around?
It was Vince McMahon got carried away in a stretcher. That's the one that's all I remember.
I'm trying to remember
because Shawn Michaels, I think.
Yeah, because I feel like Vince is always getting carried out in a stretcher. Like this man somehow tears out a muscle, like somehow.
Yeah, you're right though.
Yeah, no. So, but man, to bring it back to obviously, like we can talk about WWE all day, but the fans want to know about you though. You know what I mean?
Right.
So going back to your career though, it's like, like you said, you started with wrestling and everything, and you eventually got into your MMA path. Your first fight, like how'd that go down? Like, was it like I said, your family members kind of like said like, okay, like we have a fight for you, or was it one of those things you're like, I'm gonna just give it a shot? And dude, you definitely used that wrestling right away in your first fight, which is pretty funny.
Appreciate you watching that one.
Yeah, got you, brother. I got you.
But yeah, actually, my first fight was kind of surreal. I didn't think it was gonna happen until I was in the cage, bro. It was like I had a fight scheduled 3 months prior to that fell through. Like came all the way to the day of. And it fell through. That's my fault, but still, it was kind of discouraging. Like, man, when am I ever gonna do this? I've been waiting to do this stuff since I was 14, 13 years old. I've been thinking about this 18th birthday. I turned 18 on May 15th of 2017. Yeah, I think that's when my debut was. 10 days later, they scheduled me one, and they're like, blah blah blah. I'm like, I don't care. I just want to fight.
Yeah.
I felt like I was the best then. I was a little bit overly confident, but that was good. And yeah, I basically kind of set it up myself, if you would say. And then I just showed up, did my thing, it was great. And I was fresh out of high school, so I'm like a little bit popular still, so the video blew up, and they're like, this kid, what? We didn't know you did this. You're going to the UFC. So it was really big, really good for my name. And the way that it ended was even the sweetest part. It was like what I dreamed of,
Yeah, I mean, how was the response after? I know you said it was like fresh out of high school, so still have people like still holding you up. So did your like DM just get flooded with like, yo,
bro,
dude?
first time ever. I'll go on Facebook, and at the time I had an Android, so I get on Facebook, bro. Man, I had like 128 notifications, and I didn't know where to start, but I was like, what? I thought I was a little famous there. It was great. It was one of the best nights of my life for sure. Best little few days of my life. It was great. A wonderful introduction to the MMA world.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, then it said that you pulled off 2 more wins right after that. And obviously, we're here to like hear about your story. So then you run into your first loss. So how did that hit you though? Because like I know for some people it's one of those that's like, it kind of just brushes off the shoulder. But then for other people, it's kind of like they kind of have to sit on it a little bit, and then eventually they get to the point that they're like, okay, it's time to brush it off and we're gonna get better for here. So was that the thing, the case for you, or how was that?
Man, I took that one very, very, very hard because I completely overlooked him, for one. For two, it was like, I'm 18 years old, so I'm kind of like recklessly, like super confident. I think I'm gonna be in the UFC next year. I'm gonna retire undefeated. I'm gonna finish everybody in the world in one round. Cause that's my first three fights all ended in like the first minute. I was bulldozing through people, and I completely. They're like, you finished everybody in the first round. You're gonna finish this kid in 45. It's just the expectations were really high, and I didn't go out there and not only didn't win, I lost. So it was super hard to grasp. It was very hard for me to do it, but it's probably the best thing that happened for me. I was moving a little bit too fast. I had fought those first three fights in like 2 months, and then if I would have got past him, we were going to talk about going pro. At the time, I was not ready to go pro, because now that I feel that I'm ready to go pro, me fighting my 18-year-old self back then, it'd probably be day and night, So it ended up working out very well for me, but at the time I did not feel that way. I was freaking down in the dumps. I didn't fight for a good 9 months. That wasn't because I was really down. I was down in the dumps for about five or 6 months, because I in the fight, I was finishing people in the first round, the first minute.
Yeah.
So that time I went the full 9 minutes, and I blew my wad like I do in the first minute. So it was 8 minutes of freaking hell, bro. And it scarred me from fighting for a little bit. But after talking and getting back in shape, I love this. I had to get back to it, and a year from then I was only 19, still a baby,
Yeah, 100%, dude. So, I mean, like you said, it's like at least you learn from it. Now you're back on track. So, you keep on winning a couple more fights, and then COVID hits, man. So, like, yeah, dude, how was that? I mean, how was your experience? I mean, I don't know if you got COVID, but then again, it's like, how was that training? Because, like, dude, the country essentially went into lockdown, and nobody could have done anything. I mean,
Man.
I know for my case, I packed on a couple LBs. So when the gyms opened up, I was like, thank God.
Yeah, I mean, the type of guy that I am is like, I have friends who don't fight. I got people outside of fighting and stuff. So if I'm not in the gym for about 4 weeks or 3 weeks at a time, I branch off. I get my hobbies start to get interested into other things and stuff like that. So I do need the gym, but the COVID, it was a blessing, but not at the same time. I had a long break. I had the opportunity to spend a lot of time with my daughter and my girlfriend and stuff like that, and to enjoy things outside of fighting, swimming, being in the pool, enjoying summer, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I did turn 21, so through a fat party, kind of just enjoying life, being not a fighter,
That feels
And I kind of paid for that because I took a fight at the end of summer, off of 2 weeks, and I looked at him and I was like, okay, I'll be good here, assuming that I'd be my best self, but I was not my best self at all. I was coming off of the COVID jitters, we would call it,
Yeah.
And but that fight, I took a loss, and that one, the fight before this one, and that was very good for me because it reset me all over again. I was back winning fights, back doing my thing, back being DKO, and he put me back in my place, which was very good. And now I'm better than ever, like mental, literally 100% there.
Yeah. And like you said, like it helped, helped you with your mental and all that. And I heard, like, I was watching one of like your previous interviews, and I think you had like a really like cool line that like I was gonna ask you about that. Like you said, it's like whenever you train for an opponent, like you're not training for him, you're training for the top guys in the sport. So I think he said it's like you're training for Peter Yan and Aljamain Sterling and all that. So was that where like that type of mentality stemmed from like that fight that you said that kind of just resets you, or was it one of those things that's like you kind of always had it, but like you just kind of had to kick it back into gear?
Well, yeah, I mean that's great. That is great, but sometimes I catch myself overlooking guys trying to hurry and get to Peter Yan. If you get what I'm saying, like like I'd be like, man, I'd watch a little bit of film, which is cool, and I'd be like, man, blah blah blah. I'm trying to fight for Peter Yan. I'm not worried about this guy. I'm gonna go in there, react, do what I do. But if I did watch a little bit more, maybe I wouldn't got in positions that I got into. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But ideally, I keep the same motto. Like, no matter what, even my next fight, I'm getting ready for Peter Yan. He's number one in the world. Why not shoot for the stars? You know what I'm saying? Why not shoot for that number one guy? Train for that number one guy. Because if this guy's somewhere in the middle of the pack, he ain't gonna be enough for you if you even get close to the number one. You get what I'm saying?
No, 100%. No, yeah, definitely, though. And that's honestly a great mentality to have, whether, not just in fighting, just in general, you know what I mean? Like in my case, like, I'm in the way, like we're getting reps to, train to hopefully, get interviews like later on in the future with like big networks and Datrelle.
Yeah, of course.
I know for a fact I'm definitely gonna be seeing you up there. So, my man. So, dude, before we go though, so it's like for you, you're an amateur fighter, and like I'm guessing you get asked this question by interviewers and a bunch of people around you. When do you want to go pro? Because like I said, it's like you're the number one bantamweight in Illinois, and then like you definitely have a lot of clout behind your name. So for you, do you have an idea you want to go pro, or we'll just kind of like take it like fight by fight, and like people around you will let you know?
This next fight, man. I'm trying to go pro this next fight. But the thing is, I don't want to sit on this victory for 6 months. Like I start to play with my fingers and be like, all right, so I want to schedule something now. Like I'm actually in the process of taking a fight as we speak. I'm really not too sure. It's not confirmed yet, so I don't want to say anything. But yeah, I'm definitely leaning towards pro. But if something amateur comes up that's soon, 5-6 weeks, hey, I'm up for it. It all just has to make sense. The business side of this MMA stuff is getting a tad more, especially since I'm going pro, a little more serious. So every step that I take has to be calculated. I just can't jump into fights when I'm not getting compensated for them, when I could be getting compensated. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely, brother. So definitely, brother. So like I said, Datrelle, like I really can't wait to see your next fight. And dude, this interview was really great. So hopefully, like in the next one, we can venture off a little bit more, talk about some
Of
WWE
course,
stuff
bro.
and stuff
I'm
like
down.
that. Yeah,
we can
100%.
talk about whatever. Hey, I watch and do everything, brother. So we can talk about whatever you want, man.
Yeah, definitely, brother. So, dude, for you, like I don't want to take much of your time, and I'm sure we'll do this again. Do you want to plug in your social media so everyone watching can go follow you?
DKO MMA _ on Instagram. Shout out Top Mount Apparel. They make the sickest shirts, sickest gear. Datrelle Kozeluh on Facebook, and that's really all I'm active on as of now, guys. I got to learn the Twitter and everything. But yeah, hit me up on there. Inbox me, ask me any questions, sponsorship opportunities, the whole shebang. DKO. Thank you for the interview, man. It was great.
Yeah, definitely, brother. And like, can't wait to do it again. Like I said, next time we're gonna venture off a little bit. We're gonna not just talk about fighting. So definitely be fun, brother.
That's awesome, bro. Thanks, man. Hit me up whenever you need, man.
Definitely do, brother. All right, Datrelle, have a good one. To everyone watching, peace.